This short PowerPoint provides an overview of Enabled. My name is Professor Mark Israel. I'm a colleague of Gary Allen from RX, and I have the privilege of speaking on Gary's behalf. The scope of the problem isn't hard to see. More than 4 million Australians live with a disability. 2.2 million of these people are of working age, and chronic disease like MND, multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's strike people in the mid to late 20s, where many of us are thinking about life partners, our first home and careers. The reality is that 45% of people living with a disability live on or below the poverty line, and that's far more than the rest of Australian society. They also tend to be disconnected and isolated. Typical government and community strategies tend to focus on people with disability finding and retaining a job. This is flawed because many people living with a chronic condition will not know day to day or even hour to hour if they'll be up to working. This is incompatible with part-time or casual work, and that's not the fault of people with a disability. It's also not the fault of employers. Such an approach ignores the capacity and expertise of people living with a disability, and it also ignores their agency. Experience from the United Kingdom, from Europe, and from North America points to the degree to which people can and do own and operate small businesses or are self-employed. In fact, Australian data suggests people living with a disability are more entrepreneurial than their able-bodied peers. The rebooted Australian economy has pointed to the viability of working from home and the attractiveness of gig services. However, when discussing starting their own business, people living with a disability often point to a lack of resources, a lack of information, a lack of peer support, and a lack of mentoring. The NDIS provides a potential route to address these matters. The Enabled platform will provide the following services. It will give a meeting with one or more mentors to discuss your ideas and plans, a resource library of practical hints and tips of news items, discussion pieces, web resources, and of videos. Tribe is a discussion board to share ideas, strategies, questions, and tips with other enabled users. There'll be access to webinars and other online activities. The BAZAAR is an online marketplace for gigsters and other enabled members. There's an optional service of on-call mentoring, an optional service of a personalized professional development plan, an optional service of online training delivered by a person living with a disability, and an optional service of a business plan. Enabled will provide for people who fall within one or more categories. It could be a person with a marketable skill, perhaps from a previous role, that could offer on a gig basis. You could be a person with a hobby, an interest, a passion, or curiosity who wants to continue or take to the next level those things. You could be a person who wants to volunteer. You could be a person willing to serve on a board or a reference group. You could be someone who's identified a problem and wants to lobby for constructive change. Or you could be a person with a serious business idea. Let's give a quick update on where we are up to with the establishment of Enabled. Enabled.vip is registered. The launch version of the website will be online in about 10 days. We've received a pledge of $50,000 contingent on Enabled getting an additional $50,000 or more in matching funding. We've had initial discussions with a consultancy fund to buddy in the initial meetings with clients. We're in discussion with MS Queensland for them to partner with us formally in a number of ways, including on the receipt of donations, serving as an on-ramp, and helping with promotion. We hope to establish a research connection that will embed research in the operation of Enabled, so we'll have evidence-based practice, can host students, and help initiate research projects. We're drafting the resource sheets and have compiled the first 30 items to go in the resource library. We've started talking to potential future speakers for webinars. We've started receiving offers from possible volunteers For example, those who might serve as expert mentors. We've been busily applying to those grant schemes that remain open despite COVID-19. And we're aiming for a soft launch on the 1st of July to test the processes and systems. Our thought at the moment is that the joining fee should be $400, and this will cover all basic services, including listing in the BAZAAR. People then pay $90 a month to remain members. Purchasing 10 hours of optional mentoring would cost $490, and we're currently locking down the cost of all the other optional items. For an NDIS member, this will be paid for out of your social and community budget. These costs will be cross-subsidized by donations, and we're discussing with commercial contacts the idea of sponsored scholarships. On the screen now are some contact details in case you have any further questions. We ask you to follow us on LinkedIn, to let your networks know about us, and to consider becoming a sponsor.